it's now my great pleasure to ask Margaret Brodie to see if she feels our business is satisfactory and whether she can welcome us to country.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you to Kaurna land. I ask that you have respect for the Kaurna people, past, present and emerging, and respect for their cultural beliefs and their spiritual connections to the land. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Margaret. Of course, the journey started in 1788, and if you ask Auntie Pat Anderson, she'll say that's when the journey started. And indeed it did. Aboriginal people have been asking for recognition, a place in their own country since that very day.
We gathered at the 2017 National Constitutional Convention, coming from all points of the southern sky, make this statement from the heart. Our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent and its adjacent islands, and possessed it under our own laws and customs. This our ancestors did, according to the reckoning of our culture from the creation, according to the common law from time immemorial, and according to science, more than 60,000 years ago. This sovereignty is a spiritual notion, the ancestral tie between the land, or Mother Nature, and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who were born therefrom, remain attached thereto, and must one day return thither to be united with our ancestors. This link is the basis of the ownership of the soil, or better, of sovereignty. It has never been ceded or extinguished and coexists with the sovereignty of the Crown. How could it be otherwise, that peoples possessed a land for 60 millennia and this sacred link disappears from world history in merely the last 200 years? With substantive constitutional change and structural reform, we believe this ancient sovereignty can shine through as a fuller expression of Australia's nationhood. Proportionally, we are the most incarcerated people on the planet. We are not an innately criminal people. Our children are aliened from their families at unprecedented rates. This cannot be because we have no love for them. And our youth languish in detention in obscene numbers. They should be our hope for the future. These dimensions of our crisis tell plainly the structural nature of our problem. This is the torment of our powerlessness. We seek constitutional reforms to empower our people and take a rightful place in our own country. When we have power over our destiny, our children will flourish. They will walk in two worlds and their culture will be a gift to their country. We call for the establishment of a First Nations voice enshrined in the Constitution. Makarrata is the culmination of our agenda, the coming together after a struggle. It captures our aspirations for a fair and truthful relationship with people of Australia and a better future for our children based on justice and self-determination. We seek a Makarrata Commission to supervise a process of agreement making between governments and First Nations and truth-telling about our history. In 1967, we were counted. In 2017, we seek to be heard. We leave base camp and start our trek across this vast country, and we invite you to walk with us in a movement of the Australian people for a better future.
We're here on serious business. We're here to learn and find out about the complex journey that's taken place to this point and to fully inform ourselves as best we can about the referendum question that we'll all be facing at the end of the year. It's up to us to know clearly what we think, how we feel, and cast our vote accordingly. And it's at this point I think we should meet our panel, because these good folk who've come to share their knowledge and experience with us tonight were part of that incredibly democratic and exhaustively consultative process. So let me first introduce to you Melissa Clarke, and if Melissa wouldn't mind, she's a proud Ngarrindjeri woman, mother of 3 children, and in 2017, whilst Director of Aboriginal Services and the Aboriginal League of Rights Movement, she was engaged by the Referendum Council as a working group leader for the 2017 Adelaide Regional Dialogue. A few weeks later, Melissa was also a delegate at the historical 3-day Uluru National Conference. She brings abundant insight with her and experience of protecting and advancing the rights of self-determination and ensuring free, prior and informed consent as recognised in the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights of Indigenous People. Our second panel member is Dwayne Couthard. Dwayne is a proud Adnyamatha and Couthard man from South Australia. He's a signatory of the Uluru Statement of the Heart. Dwayne has been working as a strong advocate for voice, treaty and truth, working alongside the Uluru Youth Network as the next generation of leaders. Dwayne's previous experience included working as a producer on Conversations, probably many of your favourite programs, about recognition during 2015. This involved taking a step back from constitutional reform and focusing on individuals' personal experience of recognition in their own lives. Our third speaker is Arrin Hazelbane. Arrin is a proud Waithi and Couthard man with cultural connections to the Finniss River region in the Northern Territory and the far west coast of South Australia. Arrin is the General Manager, Aboriginal Practice and Service in the Youth Council, in Youth Justice. Arrin was a facilitator at the regional dialogues and a South Australian delegate to the National Constitutional Convention in Uluru. Arrin is a proud signatory of the Uluru Statement. And our fourth speaker is Dale Agius. Dale is a proud Kaurna, Narungga, Gajuri and Ngarrindjeri man. He is South Australia's inaugural Commissioner for the First Nations voice to the South Australian Parliament. And you'll recall that was successfully legislated just a few weeks ago. He has extensive experience working with Aboriginal community services initiatives across government and non-government sectors.